Symbol number 67 is entitled Animal and Vegetarian Food, and it's a symbol about the vibrations of the ideal food. This symbol has been shown in black and white in the book The Ideal Food that is translated and published in English. According to Martinus, there are different life units, and we have animal life units and we have vegetable life units, and there are also some special life units in fruit flesh. Here in the corner we see a life unit, and at the bottom here we have a life unit. It is an animal life unit. Here we have a vegetable life unit, and here we have a life unit in the fruit flesh. Martinus is also talking about A life units and B life units. A life units are, so to speak, cells in the food that has to be killed in order to liberate their content of nutrition. But also in the cells there are organelles and polymolecules and macromolecules that has to be broken down to smaller pieces. And B life units is particles that can be absorbed in the organism through the wall of the intestine. So A life units are more or less cells that has to be killed and have to leave the body with the feces. And B life units are absorbed in the organism and passing the intestinal wall. In animal food, there are a lot of A life units. You have to kill the animal, but you also have to kill the organs and the cells. There is a lot of killing eating meat. And there is not that much killing when you are eating vegetables, and especially if you are eating nuts and seeds and so on, you don't even kill the plant. And here Martinus has shown the fruit flesh, because you can take a cherry, you can take an apple, you can eat the fruit flesh, and you don't have to kill the tree, and you can throw away the seeds. So when you are eating fruit flesh, you are practicing the principle of killing to a very little extent. This is the vibration of the flesh in the animals. It is very coarse vibrations. Here we have the vibrations of vegetables, and here we have the vibrations of fruit flesh. And here in the middle we have the vibrations of human man. And animal flesh, meat, is healthy for lions and tigers and cats and dogs, but it's not healthy for human beings because they have passed on in the evolution. So meat is too coarse for us. And the best nutrition for terrestrial human beings now is a mixture between vegetables and fruit flesh. And the orange color symbolizes that in our digestion and metabolism there is a lot of killing. And when there is lesser killing, we use the yellow color. And also in Martinus symbols, the orange color is the color of the animal kingdom and the explosive energy. And the yellow color is the symbol of the real human kingdom and the energy of feeling, or the energy of love. The title of symbol number 68 is Gastric Acid, Cooking and Diet. Here on the top of the symbol we see 4 different kinds of life units. This is meat from human beings with the yellow, with the blue color, green and yellow. We symbolize human flesh, human meat. And this is meat units, life units from animals, and this is from fish, and this is from fruit and vegetables. And we see that there is some nutrition in all these A life units, but you have to kill the A life units in order to get into the cell and get the nutrition. And the nutrition is symbolized with the red color, and the red color is the B life units. So here at the bottom of the symbol you see all the B life units that are in human meat, animal meat, fish meat, and also in vegetables and fruit. And the red life units, the B life units, can be absorbed through the wall of the intestine. And in the middle of the symbol we have a symbol of the gastric acid. So once the human beings were cannibals, they could eat meat from other human beings and they could eat it raw. But it was too hard to digest raw meat. And when human beings invented the fire, they found out to cook the meat. And that was a release for the gastric acid. It was easier to digest meat when it was boiled or cooked or fried. And therefore, also, the strength of the gastric acid degenerated. But it was a big help that the food could be cooked. And here again, we see some twisted red and black figures, and they symbolize the killing principle. There are a lot of life units that are killed in the digestion. There are life units that are killed in the stomach and that are killed in the intestines through all the enzymes. But we see in general that the gastric acid is degenerating as we are changing our diet. Martinus talks about karma. If we are meat eaters, we are also the cause to the killing of many animals. The animals experience it as an accident to be killed, and therefore human beings can also get a karma that they can be killed in an accident with airplanes, with cars, where they are working. There are many different types of accidents. So Martinus says if you want protection against accidents, you should become a vegetarian. And when it comes to eating meat, Martinus makes no exception from fish flesh. Also, when you are eating fish, you can have this karma of accident. Because fish, they have two eyes, they have nervous system and so on. But this is the only place where I've seen that Martinus make a distinction between animal meat and fish meat. And this is that when it comes to digestion, it's easier to break down the flesh of the fishes. And therefore you don't have to have so much gastric acid in order to break down fish flesh. But Martinus normally recommends to become a vegetarian if you want protection against accidents. And here you have vegetables and fruit flesh. And here at the end, with yellow color, Martinus also symbolizes the real human kingdom. And this zone with gastric acid, this zone with this explosive energy is a killing zone. So in a way, we have a permanent war in our digestive system. It is sort of hell. It is a place where living beings are being killed. And if you are becoming an all-loving, perfect human being, it would be illogical to have such a hell in your own body. And for that reason, the diet will change in the future. And Martinus predicts that there will come new types of fruit that would be contain all nutrients that we need. Fruits would even become bigger and better in the future. And in the future, we would not even need a kitchen. Martinus thinks that the nature is the best cook. So in a way, it would be best only to eat natural products. But Martinus recommends that we boil the food. I have examined, there is only 2 vitamins that are damaged by boiling in water, and that is vitamin C, and that would be no problem for vegetarians. and then there is one of the 12 B vitamins, I don't really remember which one. But you destroy very little by boiling in water. And Martinus argues, if these life units are not killed through boiling, it would be killed anyway in your own digestive system. So it's only an advantage for your digestive system that you boil the vegetables. When it is about root beets and carrots and potatoes, it's good to boil these products. But of course, when it's about grapes and bananas and so on, the fruit is not becoming any better from the boiling. So you should only boil the products that are hard to digest. But in general, Martinus is not going into details. He says it's very important to notice if it's good for your body or if it's not. If you don't feel the digestion, it's a good product. But if you have many problems with the digestion, you might consider to eat in another way. But in the future, we would not have to cook, we would not have to have any kitchen. We could only eat the raw fruit flesh. And in a way, it would be so easy to digest. You could say that in a way, it is almost digested by nature. It should only be dissolved in your own digestive system. And this is a perfect solution. So the nature has a very perfect solution also to the problem of nutrition. You don't have to kill in order to get your nutrition in the future. Symbol number 69 is entitled The Digestion of Animal Products. On the symbol, Martinus has symbolically drawn a meat-eating stomach. And we can see the stomach or the digestive system, and here we are getting our nutrition. And here we see some A life units. This is life units that have to be killed in order to liberate the nutrition. And you see the orange colors, it is like explosions. So this killing by the gastric acid and the enzymes is a killing process. So we are practicing the killing principle in our digestive system. And the flames and explosions shows that there is really a war, and it is a killing zone of our digestive system or whole organism. But we can also see there are some red life units, and these red life units are the so-called B life units. They can pass the walls of the intestine without any killing. If we take the animal products, we can take some milk products and eggs, and mostly products of milk and eggs are B life units. You don't have to kill the cow, you don't have to kill any cells, so most of the milk can be absorbed directly. And if you eat eggs, most of it is also storage. It's only nutrition. There is no killing of the hen, it's no killing of cells, so it can be absorbed. But of course, you could recommend to become a vegan, because as long as you're not a vegan, you could say that the animals are still your slaves. But in animal products, there are pure B life units, as well as in fruit and vegetables. There are some pure B life units that can be absorbed directly. But here we can see a cell sort of being killed, and then we can see that B life units are released from these cells when they are broken down. But you see the orange color symbolize the explosive energy and the practicing of the killing principle. Symbol number 70 is entitled The Digestion of Vegetarian Products. The symbol symbolizes a vegetarian stomach, so to speak. And we can see there are a lot of B life units, which is the real nutrition in the food. So we see that we take in a lot of B life units. So this is when we are eating fruit flesh. There is no digestion because the life unit in fruit flesh can pass the intestinal wall directly. And here we see all the different life units in our own digestion. I think this symbol is beautiful compared to the former symbol because this is without any killing, without these orange colors. So Martinus wrote a book called The Ideal Food. And to put it very short, the ideal food is fruit flesh. But it's only perfect for human beings who have come higher in the evolution. Martinus cannot recommend that human beings today only live by fruit flesh. It depends on our step in evolution. And there are human beings on different steps in the evolution. But in the future, it will be more healthy for human beings only to eat fruit flesh, which will be out any killing. Symbol number 71 is the fate element and the talent kernels. Martinus thinks that all living beings are eternal living beings, and a living being is a unit, a continuous unit. But in the analysis, Martinus has divided the living being into two parts. There is an eternal part and there is a created part. And you can also divide it into three types, and Martinus calls it X1, X2, X3. The three parts are also the creator, the creative power, and the created result. And with the violet color, Martinus symbolizes the creative power, the mother energy, X2. That is the eternal part of the living being. In X3, the created world, the world of energies and vibrations, the living beings are making all their life experiences. They are training and practicing, and they are creating talent kernels. These talent kernels are stored in the superconsciousness in X2 so that they survive the death of the physical body. And here we see an orange circle, which means that we have some talent kernels for the creation of a physical body. So these different, the green, the yellow, the red, the blue circles symbolize talent kernels for creation of physical organs. And this is the situation during death. Nothing takes place. It is just like when you have seeds from flowers. During the winter, these seeds can be dry. There are no activity in the seeds. But when they come outside in spring, it gets warm, hot, sunshine. Then they start to germ and to grow. Then there is some activity. But here we see the situation. Here we have the seeds during discarnation. The talent kernels are inactive, but they are there with all the information of how to create a new physical body. Symbol number 72 is entitled The Fate Element and Talent Kernels During Incarnation. This symbol looks very much like the previous symbol, but now we see some arrows and they are going in different directions. When a living being is incarnating, the whole knowledge about how to create a new body is stored in the talent kernels. So there's a kind of matrix that knows how the physical body should be created. And then we can see the arrows is going out. This information from the talent kernels in the eternal body is pointing out, is creating the physical body. But during the incarnation, we are doing something to our organs. We can train our organs, we can use our organs in a healthy way, but we can also poison our organs, we can stop using our organs. So there are different types, And if you sort of are destroying an organ, you are also destroying the talent for making a healthy organ in the coming lives. But these are the talent kernels in the superconsciousness, in the eternal body that survives the death of the physical body. Symbol number 73 is the defective organism. We see that the orange color symbolizes the physical body. The orange color is the energy of gravity, and it's also a symbol of the animal kingdom. So here we have the whole physical body, and in the physical body there are many different talent kernels. In the explanation, Martinus don't talk about it, but I guess this outer figure is a symbol of the aura that radiates from the physical body. We see here are some very healthy parts. For example, here is a talent kernel for creating a healthy brain. The brain is an organ for the use of intelligence. And here we see some yellow talent kernels. That is talent kernels for creation of organs like lungs, heart, blood system, glands, and so on. So we have many different talents for the creation of a physical body. Also with these blue colors, Martinus symbolizes that there are some centers in our brain that are prepared for intuition and cosmic consciousness. But then we see some areas down here with black, brown clouds. It looks a little bit dramatic. And this is a person who lives in an unhealthy way. If you start to drink beer, wine, alcohol, you can turn into an alcoholic. Alcohol is a poison for the human body, and alcohol especially poisons the brain and the nervous system. And Martinus is looking upon life in a principle of reincarnation. And this means that you can be an alcoholic in several lives. If you start to drink in one life, and at the end of the life you have become an alcoholic, then when you are born in the next life, you will start to drink again, and then you will start to drink as a teenager. And you will go on drinking and drinking. It has become a vice. You can't stop it. You go on drinking and drinking, and you are sinking deeper and deeper down. And when you die, you can come back in next incarnation, and then you start to drink very early, maybe just as a big child. And Martinus explains that if you are an alcoholic 3 or 4 lives after each other, you are sinking down, down, down. And at the end, you have destroyed your brain and your nervous system. And then, in the next life, you can be born as handicapped, disabled. You can, for example, be born with Down's syndrome. And then it takes maybe also 3 or 4 lives to come back to normality. There are people who are very handicapped by Down syndrome, others are not so handicapped. So it's very important to help handicapped people and people with Down syndrome, because they have to train and practice in order to come back to normality. And there is a series of people who are on the way down, on all steps on the way down to a destroyed organism, and all steps from a destroyed organism back to normality. Martinus is also explaining in his book, The Ideal Food, some people are just simply eating too much and they get fat in one life. But this is, you're putting your organism to work too much. That's an overload. And through overeating, you can destroy a normal metabolism. You can destroy a normal digestion. And then in the coming lives, you are born with inborn metabolic errors. Often you can find the cause in the genes of one or both of the parents. But Martinus thinks there is a deeper cause, and that is because you have been overeating yourself in previous lives. And Martinus is also talking about that you can destroy some centers in your brain with marijuana and drugs and coke and heroin and other strong LSD. There are many different kind of drugs, but they are also very destructive for the talent kernels for creation of a normal body. And you can also, with these drugs, break through to the spiritual world. So you cannot really tell the difference between the physical world and the spiritual world. And many people who are born with spiritual mental diseases, the cause is in previous lives. Martinus doesn't point it out, but it's my personal opinion that people who are schizophrenic, they have contact to the spiritual world. That is because they have destroyed themselves by psychedelic drugs in previous lives. Then in this life, they broke through to the spiritual world. When they are born with their children, they are still okay, but there are wounds that can be risen up, and then they can get a hold through to the spiritual world again. It's interesting to see some details. Martinus doesn't write about it, but it looks as if there are many blue talent kernels that are destroyed, and the blue talent kernels, they are the talent kernels for a higher consciousness. So there are parts of the brain that has been prepared for cosmic consciousness, and maybe somebody think that LSD and psychedelic drugs are a shortcut to the spiritual world and cosmic consciousness, but they are not. They are sort of destroying these very delicate cells that should be used when we should open for the cosmic consciousness. So the general idea is that if you are abusing your organs, if you are destroying your organs, that will also have a consequence on the talent kernels for the coming creation of coming organisms and organs. Symbol number 74 is entitled The Defective Organism and the Fate Element. Now we can see the previous three symbols combined in one symbol. We have the physical organism here as the outer ring, and here in the inner orange ring we have the talent kernels for creation of physical organs. And now we can see these arrows. If you are destroying some organs, you are also destroying the talent kernels for the creation of normal organs. And Martinus thinks when you have destroyed some talent kernels for creation of normal organs, you will be born with abnormal organs. So it's very serious to abuse the different organs. In a lecture, Martinus gives an example with a man who is smoking a lot. Maybe he is smoking 20, 40, 60 cigarettes per day, but he don't want to stop. And somebody might warn him, you might die by lung cancer or another lung disease. But he says, I don't care, I want to enjoy life, and when I'm dead, the problem is out of the world. But Martinus says, no, anyway, it's a minor problem that this person dies from a lung disease, because what is more serious is that the talent kernels for the creation of new healthy lungs are destroyed, which means that such a disease can follow the person in some lives. Now you might become very worried if you have been sick or ill, and you would know the way to become normal again. But Martinus assures and explains very simply, the road to normality is just simply to live normal. So if we have a disease, if we have destroyed some organs, we should just start to live normal. So when we are living normally, nature is so ingenious that everything is cured, everything turns back to normality. So just live normal. Symbol number 75 is the destruction of the human being's talent kernels. This symbol is parallel to the previous symbol. This was the last symbol where Martinus wrote an explanation, which means he wrote about 15 or 20 pages in a manuscript, which was the introduction to the symbol. But he did not really give a detailed explanation of the symbol. And there is no tape recorded explanation of the symbol. But I guess it is very parallel to the previous symbol. But there is some difference. In the center of the symbol, we see a white triangle. This is the symbol of X1, the self, the I. This is the creator. And here Martinus has also drawn the spiritual bodies. Martinus is talking about 6 basic energies, and we also have 6 spiritual bodies. We have a body of instinct, a body of gravity, a body of feeling, a body of intelligence, a body of intuition, a body of memory. And here Martinus shows that we can destroy the spiritual bodies. We can commit a physical suicide. It only takes a few seconds to make a physical suicide. But Martinus is also talking about a spiritual suicide. Jesus said in the Bible that we shouldn't be afraid of those who kill the body because they couldn't kill the soul. So others can kill the body, I can kill my physical body, that's not so serious. And others, they cannot kill my soul. They cannot kill my talent kernels, but I can destroy my own talent kernels, or I can destroy my own spiritual bodies by living in a wrong way, by taking medicine, drugs, alcohol. You can destroy your spiritual bodies. And now human beings, they are especially developing their feelings with yellow color, their intelligence with green color, and their intuition with blue color. That is the new energies that we are training and practicing. That is sort of the higher energies. Of the lower energies, we have the explosive energy with orange color, and we have the energy of instinct with red color. They are not so damaged. And again, we see these twisted red and black colors, which are symbolizing the killing principles. So we are actually, with these vices, killing the spiritual bodies. We are actually committing a spiritual suicide. And you can kill and destroy the spiritual bodies, and you can also kill and destroy the physical body. There was no explanation of the details of the symbol, but Martinus writes about the black fire. That's the first place in his whole literature that he is writing about the black fire. And there are 5 paragraphs where he are writing about drug addicts, and Martinus can really understand their situation and understand how terrible they feel. And he says that their vice, their bad habits can be so strong they cannot stop. But there is a rule that the trees cannot grow into heaven, and there is also a limit to the abuse. And when the abuse has reached its culmination, these people have destroyed their spiritual bodies and talent kernels so much that they have to be born as disabled, handicapped in a coming life. But then they will return to normality. I also talked about sexual derailments. There are people who kill others in order to have their sexual release, to have their sexual life satisfied. And it is a very, very serious condition if you have to kill others to have your sexual culmination. And it's also very serious if you have to take all these drugs. But then it comes to a stop where you are disabled, and then you will return to normality. People who are taking drugs or are sexual maniacs, they are not worse than other people. As I said before, in order to become the same perfect human beings, we have to experience the same amount of suffering. So people who are going through sexual derailment, or who are going through these derailments with alcohol and medicine abuse and drugs, they have a lot of suffering, but that brings them on in the evolution. If we have very much suffering, we are very developed. The highest developed people on earth are the people who have had most sufferings. So every time when we have sufferings, we are developing. And in that way, we can see there are some experiences, they are very unpleasant, but there is a purpose, there's a reason, we learn from it. So in a way it's good, but it's unpleasant. So as Martinus says, there are the pleasant good and the unpleasant good, but both are good, and in that way he can say everything is very good. So even these derailment and abuses lead to the light. Everything lead to love, everything lead to light, everything lead to God. Symbol number 76 is entitled The Cosmic Spiral Cycle 2, the Imperfect Human Being. Martinus has drawn symbol number 14 in the first volume of the Eternal World Picture. And there he has described 7 different spiral cycles. And the spiral cycle includes a physical part and a spiritual part. In the physical part we know the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, and the animal kingdom, and the beginning of the real human kingdom. And then we have the spiritual worlds. And the symbol number 14 is entitled the Cosmic Spiral Cycle 1. And now Martinus has not drawn only 7 spiral cycles, but 18 spiral cycles. He said it was necessary for him to draw 18 spiral cycles in order to explain the whole world system. And the whole symbol book, volume 5, is about illness and healing in the light of Martinus' cosmology. And in the center of the symbol we see the human body. We can see intelligence is penetrating brain and nervous system, feeling is with heart, lungs and blood system, the explosive energy is the digestive system, the blue color, the energy of intuition, is overshading or penetrating the sexual organs. With red color, the instinct of energy penetrates muscles and skin, and with the indigo color we have the energy of memory, which corresponds to the mineral regions of the human body. This body is in an oval aura, and this shows that this is an imperfect human being. And here are some spiritual bodies that couples binds the physical body and the spiritual bodies together. And then Martinus has drawn 18 spiral cycles. And this spiral cycle here, it looks like a cross, or maybe it could look a little bit like a saving belt. This is the spiral cycle of human beings. And this spiral is the highest in a row of 7 spirals. It represents what Martinus called the principle of universe. And then one spiral over us, we have planet Earth. This is the most simple principle of organism. It's only one particle. And here we have the solar system. There is a few particles. And here we have the symbol of the galaxy. And here is a multi-particle system. And then we have a group of galaxies. And when we come here to the 7th, we can just see the bottom of the cross, the bottom of the saving belt. Then we have reached a new 7th and highest spiral cycle. And like in piano playing, you can speak about octaves. And we also have a cosmic octave. And the cosmic octave starts with the particle and ends up with the universe. One spiral cycle below us, we find the organs. 2 spiral cycles below, we find cells. And 3 below, we find the molecules and the atoms. But Martinus thinks we have to go 7 spirals deeper. Then we come to a spiral cycle of spiritual matter. And then we are 10 spiral cycles below our spiral cycle. And this is the spiral cycle of the thoughts. This is this super microcosmic world that we have been studying today. And down there in this spiral cycle of the thoughts, there is also a physical world and a spiritual world. But to us, it is so super microcosmic that even the physical world appears to us as if it is spiritual. And there Martinus is talking about coarse spiritual matter. And the spiritual beings who are in the spiritual world, that is the pure spiritual matter. Here on the symbol, we see one spiral cycle. The dark area here represents the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom. This is where the darkness culminates in the spiral cycle, and here we see the spiritual worlds of the spiral cycle. And we see the different 6 kingdoms in a spiral cycle. And here we see a gray color. This is the aura outside the lungs. If this person had been a very healthy person, we'd have seen a beautiful yellow aura here, because this person is smoking and drinking and having aggressive thoughts and so on. The aura is sort of rather polluted or impure. So this imperfect human being can also have a lot of diseases. And this symbol was the last symbol that Martinus was drawing. But he always talked about he would draw 2 symbols with 18 spiral cycles. He would draw one symbol with the imperfect human being and another one with the perfect human being. And he worked at the symbol of the perfect human being, but he did not finish it. But he talked about them in a few talks, and then he always talked about what the second symbol would mean. And for that reason, I would like to finish with a sketch of the last symbol of volume 5. Symbol number 77 is the cosmic spiral cycle to the perfect human being. Martinus didn't finish this symbol. He wanted to make 2 symbols, one with the imperfect human being and one with the perfect human being. And he said the perfect human being has a circular aura, or a round aura. And we see here a cross. He would take away the imperfect human being, and then he would draw the perfect human being. But here we can see a circle, which is the aura of the perfect human being. But the background should be the same 18 spirals. And in this symbol, he also explains how in the future it will be possible to cure diseases with miracles. And Jesus Christ, he created a lot of attention around his person because he could make miracles. And then people believed that he was God's son because he could create these miracles. But we are all going to become Christ beings. We are all going to be able to make miracles. And that means that we would be able to cure ourselves and to cure others. In a way, it works in the same way. If a highly developed person in the physical world should have some accident, for example, if it should break an arm, it would be able, by a miracle, to cure itself just by touching with the hand. It could cure itself. Martinus has, in some other chapters of his work, written about miraculous healing. In a way, there are no miracles. The reason why we call it a miracle, that is that we don't know the laws that are governing these miracles. But the solution to the problem of having a good health is not miracles. If a person is living in a wrong way and this person is getting ill, this person can be cured by healing and become healthy again. But if it continues to make the things that created the disease, then it will eventually turn ill again. So the solution to the health problem, of course, is to stop to practice the causes to the diseases. But Martinus, as I said, doesn't describe the different symptoms of the diseases, but what is the best cure? That is to practice neighborly love. That is to love God above all things, to love your neighbor as yourself, to love the animals, to love the organs, the cells, the molecules. If you are happy and pleased and satisfied with life. When God in the Bible had created the world in 6 days, God said, see, everything is very good. And the conclusion of all Martinus' analysis is that everything is very good. And if we can think in this way and experience that everything that I meet in my life is very good, that is very healthy. You cannot get a better health if you can see that everything is healthy. And all Martinus' analysis concludes in this. The most important thing in life is to practice neighborly love. That's the road to a perfect health.